All right. Good evening once again, everyone. Welcome to Digitech Zeal Hub. Just to continue from where we stopped last time. Remember, I was telling us that we were supposed to start looking at styling some of the content we have learned how to publish in our website so far. But we couldn't go into that section because I later remember that we are not done with the anchor tag. And we spent the whole of that class on anchor tag. So I would like somebody to unmute and tell us what he or she understands with that word, anchor tag. I know I gave assignment around it. So if you still understand what we describe as anchor tag, go ahead. Okay, Afolabi, you want to try?
Yeah, and I think an anchor tag is a tag that you use to connect two or more websites together to join them.
Okay, that is two or more websites or web pages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's quickly look at introduction to CSS. That is actually our focus. Introduction to CSS. Introduction to CSS. Now, I believe at the beginning of this class, I must have told us the full meaning of CSS. So just in case you have forgotten, let's look at it again. So CSS stands for Cascade. I hope we are taking our note now. Style sheets. That is the full meaning of CSS. Cascade style sheets. So what exactly do we do with the CSS as far website creation or design is concerned? So let me define it now. So CSS is used to determine the presentation and let me break it down, and the appearance of website content. The appearance of website content. Are we together? So the main function of CSS is to beautify those contents you have published. Remember that we must understand the sequence. You cannot talk about CSS without understanding the language that creates those contents CSS wants to style. And that is the reason why we have been on HTML all this while, to enable us understand the building blocks, at least some of them, that can help us to publish content. Now we want to determine the appearance of those content. We want to see how those content can be, can be designed, how those content can look presentable and readable, right? So which means we want to give our users a good experience. And that is where the word UI UX is derived from. So anyone or anybody who design application with interface for users is a UI UX designer. So we, the website developer, particularly those of us that specialize in creating the front end, talking about colorful and very simple and good looking front end, we are also qualified to be addressed as UI UX designer. because we build web applications that user uses that gives them what? Good experience. For example, let me take us to the back end of this website so that you know the reason why CSS is needed. You know, so far so good. We have learned some couple of tags. We started from the heading tag, which is used for creating heading, and that was what generated this. And then we've learned the paragraph tag, which is used to create multi-line text, which also generated the whole of this. And then we have also learned image tag, which is used to publish or to add images to our website. And that was the tag that was used to create this image. Now, I'm going to ask one of you. Let me see the list of persons here. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask Folabi. Let's say you pay somebody 600,000 to build a website for you, and the person give you something that look like this. I want to know whether you'll be happy with that developer. Folabi, I'm asking you. Kindly answer quickly.
Um,
Will you?
no, sir.
Good. Can you tell me some of the things that you feel that are not in order?
So first of all, the website doesn't look complete
Good.
because to have a website, you must be able to go through one page to another.
Okay, but we can have one-page websites. It is possible.
Well, it depends on the description of what I asked the person to do.
Okay. So uh let me ask another person. Esther Francis Solomon, can you tell us why you will reject this website? Or is this okay by you?
No, sir, it's not okay by me.
So
Why I'll reject it
go
is
ahead.
because it's not up to standard.
It's not up to
I
standard.
cannot
Go ahead.
I cannot I cannot pay a huge sum of money for this kind of stuff because first it's not attractive and
Good.
second it's not fulfilling his main
It's not well
original
organized.
purpose.
You can
Yes,
see
sir.
that the content are not properly organized. All right. So that's why I asked us that question so that we understand the need for us to learn CSS. So we don't just stop at HTML. So I don't learn HTML and say I don't want to learn CSS. If you don't want to learn CSS, it's as good as you don't want your website to be users friendly. You don't want a website that the content will look appealing. All right. Now, remember when we started, I told us that website is one of the oldest digital marketing platform. So anytime you are building a website, your mindset should be that whoever you are building or creating that website for wants to use it to advertise something. So if that should be the case, if the website look very ugly, if it's not fine, whatever you publish there, people will not want to visit such a website. And when we started, I told us that the front end that we are designing is like the city room. Every one of us, if I visit your house now, I'm very sure that the city room has been properly organized, right? Because you want to attract, you want to entice your visitors. You want them to look good whenever they visit you. So it is that same mindset that we have as developers, as website designer, because we are also building houses, but we are building a virtual house or virtual houses that people are going to be visiting. So we need to be conscious of whether if people visit this house, which is your website, how good will the website look to them? And that is why our knowledge must not stop at HTML. We need to also learn the decorative or decoration language. And that is why we are bringing CSS in this session. All right, so I said CSS is used to determine the presentation and appearance of website content. All right, so once that is taken, for example, HTML will always by default present right of anything text you create with black color. Now, maybe the owner of this website has favorite color. He can decide to say, no, I don't want black. Let this be blue. Let this be red. At that point, HTML does not have any job to do again. So the work of HTML is just to create and give you the content, whether they are looking well or not. Then if you feel that what it has given you are not presentable, then you consult CSS to modify them, to restructure them. That is why I use the word presentation. All right. So now let's quickly look at, I hope we are right. Let's look at, in fact, let me just break it down. CSS is just like the makeup artist. You know, what did they do? The face that God has given to us, to them, the face is not fine. They'll go and look for Mary Kay and all that to do what? To fill it, to make it look good. That is CSS in that case. So the HTML provide the content, and then the user says this content are not well presentable. This content, they are not looking good. Then therefore, I don't want CSS what? To make up those content. So just have that at the back of your mind that each time we mention CSS, we are talking about a web development language that helps to beautify the content of your website. I hope we are following. Can I get a response from at least one person, not Afolabi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's quickly look at various ways to communicate CSS to your HTML elements. So that forms our next topic. That is going to be methods of adding CSS. So which means that method on how you use the CSS to improve or to style those HTML content. Now, anytime I use the word HTML content, please, I am talking about the content you have generated with the what? The HTML tags, which could be those information you created with the H1 tag, H2 tag, the one you created with the P tag, the one you created with image tag. So any of them can be improved with this language called CSS, right? Okay, sorry, I just want to eliminate that. Okay, so now what are the methods? Number one, I hope we are right, you know. Number one, we have the inline CSS addition. We have the inline CSS addition. That is the first type of CSS you should know as a learner. Then two, we have the internal. We have the internal CSS addition. So in this session, we may not be able to take all of them. We'll just take like two. And then in our next meeting, which is tomorrow, right? When next are we meeting? Tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is our next meeting now. It's just a minute. Okay, so external CSS addition. External CSS addition. So these are the three types of CSS addition. In other words, these are the three ways we can actually communicate our CSS to the content we want to improve their appearance. It's either you choose to use inline, or you use what? Internal, or you use external. All right, so in this session, I'm going to explain these two, inline and internal. Then I will now send us back to what we have generated so far, all the content we have created so far, to go and style them. All right, so now if you look at this, let's assume that, let's define them. Let me start with this. So when we say inline CSS, it means writing CSS code. Writing CSS code on the same line with HTML. So writing CSS code in the same line with what? HTML. That is when you can say I'm using inline. That is where we got that inline from. So let's look at the example. So the task is that we are to style this H1. And what is the task? The task is that we just want to perform some style or styling on this. Number one, let me put it in writing for proper understanding. So the tags we are given here, number one is style the HTML. Style the what? The H1 tag. Style the H1 tag. Style the H1 tag with the following. Make sure you are writing everything I'm writing, because that will be converted to your assignment with the following. So the first one is blue color. The first one is blue color. The second style is all the letters should be capital letter, all letters in caps. The third thing we are going to do is move it to the middle of the page. Middle of the page. Right? So let's say we want to add these few things. Now, currently the color of the text is black, so we want to change the color. We want to make everything capital letter. We want to move it to the center of the page, because you can't say that it's at the center of the page. So how do we use, I'm going to use the inline to apply the first one. And then I will use the internal to apply the last two. Now, your step on how to use inline. Your step number one, you identify the tag. Let me put this in steps. Make sure you are writing. Step A is identify the tag to style. So in alignment with the task, what do we want to start? To style with color. In this case, to style with color. That's your first step. Now, I'm still going to particularize this step. I just want us to document them first. After that, now, place the cursor. And I say cursor, I'm talking about that icon that's blinking in the opening tag of that tag. Opening tag. section. All right, then C, space, and type style. Then step D, then specify your CSS property. Specify your CSS property. Then E, specify the property value. So these are the steps that we need for us to be able to color this. So let me observe them one after the other. So the first step, I said identify. So this is what I want to style. So I have identified it. And step 2 said that I should place it in the opening section of the tag. This is the opening section. This is the closing section. So this is what the step is saying, that you click here. Make sure your cursor is blinking there. The next step says what? Space and type style. So you space and then you type what? Style. And then the next step is what? Specify your CSS property. What do you want to do? You want to color. So you say color. Just like the way you know HTML tags. So you have to start knowing CSS properties now. And then the last step is what? Specify the property value. Oh, what color do you want? We want blue. You type it. That is all. Now, if I go to the front end now, you see that what? We have changed it to what? To blue. Is that clear? Did we understand it? Let me get response from at least 3 different people.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I'll give us few minutes, like 5 minutes, or 5 minutes might be too much. I want us to try this. Once you have gotten it, let us know. Everybody create H1 tag, then style it inline and make sure that you are seeing the outcome, just like mine. Once you have gotten your own, you let me know so that we can apply the next property, which is what? All the letters should be capital letter. That one I'm going to use the inline method. So I'm waiting. Once you have all right, so let me just explain them. I believe I don't want this video to be too long because it's just for us to understand how to work with CSS. Tomorrow we're still going to do more of it. Tomorrow my focus will be on how to use external, and we shall do more advanced styling. For being the first class, I just want us to be introduced to it. So let's quickly explain what we mean by internal CSS. So internal CSS means writing, I hope we are writing this also, writing CSS in the head section. That is this particular tag. We are going to see it. The head section. Using this tag called style tag. All right, so that very first one, the internal, sorry, the inline is not professionally recommended. Why? Because when your code generates error, it will be difficult for you to correct the code or to know which part of the code is faulty, because you have both your HTML and the CSS written in the same place. So if, for example, you launch this web page now and maybe something is not working, there's possibility of you wrongly suspecting whether it's the CSS or is the HTML that is not working. But if they are separated, then we can easily debug and know, okay, this is actually where the problem is. All right, so I am going to take away this. I want us to use the internal to do everything. We are using the internal because it's more professional than inline. So I only wanted us to understand the inline. So in the course of the training, you will see me using either internal or external. It's only like 5% I'm going to use the inline. All right. So like I just mentioned here, that the internal means writing CSS in the head. Now look at this here. This is the head. This is where it opens. This is where it closes. So all you need to do is to come here, come inside it and type word style. Come inside this and type word style. Then you open it up. So anytime you want to communicate your CSS internally, which means your CSS and the HTML file are together in the same file but different section. Why inline? Both the HTML and the CSS, they were in the same line. So try to understand the differences. So this one makes your code look more organized, more packaged, because the CSS is separated from the HTML. So the HTML are on their own inside the body, and then from inside this place, you will be styling them. So there is something that we did not observe when we were using the inline that we are going to observe now. The reason why we did not observe that during inline because there was no need for us to know or to look for the tag we want to style. Why? Because we are writing the code inside the tag. But in this case now, the tags are different. Look at where the tag is, and you want to talk to that tag from here. That is from here. This is what we are saying. From here, you want to be referencing. When you want to style this one from here, you select it. When you want to style p tag from here, you select it. When you want to style image tag, so any tag you want to style, if you are using this internal, you have to be referencing it. You have to be selecting it. And that selection process, it is called HTML selector. It is called HTML selector. So the HTML selector is a way of identifying which of the HTML content you are styling or you want to style, since the files are not written together like the inline. I hope somebody understand that. Can I get a response before I continue? Do you understand that explanation? Can I get a response?
I don't fully understand it very well.
Okay, now pay attention because we are going a little bit advanced now. Okay, it's getting to where you start learning that critical thinking that I told us from the beginning that is one of the benefits of learning programming, problem solving. So we are gradually getting to where some things will look like problem so that you can solve them. Now, what we are saying is that when we style directly inside here, look at it. We just came here and put this and say what color, isn't it? And then we just said, let's say what blue. Now, at this point, you are not looking for which element you are to give the color. You know why? Because you have already know that you are giving the H1. How did I know? Because I'm writing this inside it. Afolabi, did you understand what I just explained now first? Did you understand that? Let me get a response from you.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah.
So now, that is because, so the issue of which of the elements I'm going to give color, that issue did not arise. Why? Because I have already identified it. And I am writing the CSS code inside it. So there's no point of me saying which of them. But this time around now, I want to pay attention here. This time around here, we are saying that we want to use internal. And internal means that we are no longer writing the CSS together with the HTML. So the HTML will be on their own. All right. Now you are saying that that code that we wrote here now, this is where we now want to write it. Now, if you come here and write it here, this is it. If you call, this is what you did that time. If you come here and call color, let's say you come here and call color. This is what you did here now. And I say, let's say red. This will not work like this because you have not referenced any element. Which of the element this color is going to be given? So that is the point I am making, that when you are styling with inline, you will not have issue of which of the element because you are directly writing your code inside it. But once you are dealing with internal and external, you must select which of the HTML elements you are communicating to. And that process is called HTML what? Selector. So let's quickly look at some of the steps. Let me see if I can help us out to outline the steps, just like I did in the case of inline. So if we are to look at the steps, make sure you are writing your step. We are to look at the steps. So step number 1, go to the head. So let me put this tag so that you know where I am telling you to go to. Go to the head tag. That's your first step. That when you get there, step 2, type style. Type style and press enter. So that will give you something like this. That will give you something like this, just like we have it over there. And then we'll also project it like this. Both the opening and the closing tag. Then you now come in between and open it up because you want to declare more than one property there. So that is your, so make sure you write the step the way I'm writing it. Then after that, then call the CSS property. Call the CSS property, e.g. color, just like we did. All right, CSS property. Then number 4, call CSS property value. Call CSS property value, e.g. just like we did, e.g. we call blue. All right, so now there is a step that we are going to replace here. So the first, after this, there's a step that should come here. So this one should make it 3. So this one is what? Reference. That is the point I was trying to reference. Reference or select the HTML property to style, e.g. I can say I want to style H1, or I want to style P tag, or I want to style IMG. So you must select the HTML element you want to style. So let me implement these steps now, which means that we have how many content here? 3. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Now out of this, I want to style this with those 3 things we want. I will style all of them now, not just color. What are they? We said that time, I think we listed it somewhere. Good. The first one is we style with color to be blue. The second one is that all the letters should be capital letter. Then we move it to the center. So I will speak all of them in the internal now. Now, the first thing I will do is, okay, H1 I want to talk to. So I'll come here. I'll say H1. Then you will now open this coiling bracket. Check your keyboard so you know where to get that bracket. It is not this bracket too. Please take note of it. It must be this coiling brace. We call it coiling brace bracket. So once you type it, don't type anything, just press enter, open it up, because we want to declare, we want to call 3 different CSS properties, not just color. We are calling color, we are calling which other one again? We are calling color, and we are calling all in capital letter. We are also moving. 3 properties will be involved. So let me show you how you communicate them. Now, anytime you want the appearance of your content to change, it means you look for the CSS that is responsible for it. So what will make you to say that I know CSS, just like when we say we know HTML because we know H1 tag, because we know image tag, because we know P tag. The same thing when we say we know CSS is because we know what color as a CSS property and we know other ones. So make sure that you are taking note of them even as we are speaking them. So the first one, this H1 means what? Out of this element, this is the only one that will be styled. That is what you did here now. Then inside it, you will now start calling your property. Let's say color. Then you now say the value will be what? Blue. So let me go to the front end to confirm. You see that it's working. You see that it's working. Now, the next thing we say we want to achieve is you come outside. You see that semicolon? That is how you end your CSS to call another property. Don't come here and press enter. Okay, please avoid that. Avoid that. Make sure you come outside the semicolon before you go down to show that you have ended that CSS. You want to declare another one. Now, let's go to the tags. What appearance did we define we want to get? All of them will be in capital letter. All the letters will be in capital letter. So, which means is another appearance. So I will now ask myself, which CSS property is in charge of making all letters in capital letter? That is text transform. So you try as much as possible to be memorizing them. Now, what type of transformation do you want? Is it capitalized or lowercase or uppercase? You say uppercase. So if I go back now, you will see that what? All the letters are now in capital letter. What am I speaking? I am speaking CSS on those content the HTML created. Now, I'll go back again. What is the third thing we want to achieve? The third thing we want to achieve is we want to move it to the middle. That is what we want the whole of this text to be moved towards to the center of the page. All right. So, but before that, I want to chip in. I want to add to it. I want to add the resize. Sorry, I'm supposed to use. I hope we are learning something. Resize the text. So in this case, to resize it, you see that is another appearance. Anytime you need certain appearance, you ask yourself which CSS property is responsible for it. So, okay, we want to increase or reduce the size. The CSS property is font size. Make sure you copy all of them at the end of the day. I'll choose font size. I'll say, okay, I want to give it 20 PS. That 20 PM means pixel, just like the way you have inch, the way you have centimeter, it's just a unit. So if I go back there now, you see that what? I've reduced it a little. Now I want to move it to the center of the page. I want to shift it. That is alignment. We have 3 alignments: left, center, and right. So that alignment is another what? Effect. So I will look for which CSS property can do that for me. So I will say, okay, text align. You can see the way I am calling them. Why? Because I am used to them. So the more you use them, the more you yourself, you get used to them. So make sure that you do enough practice so that you'll be able to memorize them. So I will select what? Center. So if I go back now, you see that what? We have moved this text to the center of the page. One more thing before I allow us to practice. Like I said, today I'm not going to do much. I don't want to exceed 1 hour because I want you to go and master this introduction to CSS and perform the few things we did before we accelerate, because there's a way I will style all this now. It will confuse you. So I will just do small. You go and master that one because that will form your foundation. Now, what do I want to achieve before we end the class? You see this W and this E and the L, all the letter. I want space in between them. You know why? Because I'm having enough space here. So I want to see how everything can spread a little bit. So that is to look for another property. You see, once you need a change, you ask yourself, what is the CSS property? Now, there are two things you must remember: the CSS property and the value. The CSS property and the value. Each time you call like color, you must give it a value, whether red or blue. So like here now, you can see the properties are the one having this color, this light, this sky blue, while the values are the one having different color. So now, and what is separating the properties from the value is the color. All right. So now the next thing I'm going to do here, what do I want? I want space. That is letter spacing. That's letter spacing. I will say, okay, let me just use 10 PS. All right. Now, if I go back, you see that what we have spaced them. All right. We have spaced them. Now, I want you to copy this CSS. So your assignment is to create 3 different headings, H1, H2, H3. Then you give them different color. You have give them different size. Give them different case. Where you have used uppercase, look for lowercase. Just make sure that you apply all these properties that we have mastered on each of them. I hope that is clear. Can I get a response? That is the assignment. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me write it now. To write it, I don't want to hear that I did not hear assignment. One, create 3 headings. It must be submitted in the group before tomorrow. Create 3 headings in a web page. That is the first part of the assignment. The second part of the assignment is style or the heading. Differently. To style or the heading differently. If you have given one red, don't give the second one red. So just make sure that they look different. If you have given one 20 font size, don't give the second one 20, maybe 25, just to make them look what? Different. And mind you, you are using, number 3, using, in fact, let me just attach it. So let me just say what? Using internal CSS. All right. Any question, please? Any question? Any question? Any question? Do we have question? We don't have questions, so that is where we draw the curtain. So I don't want it to be too much. So it's something you can finish. It's something you can start today and finish it before tomorrow's session. So bye.
I have a question.
Okay, you have a question. Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you.
Yes. Those languages that you listed above, the font, the color, and everything, are those the only ones that?
No, go and master.
Yeah, this one's tech.
No, go and master this one. That is what we are learning now. Go and master this one.
Okay.
These are not the only one. And you cannot even learn all of them. You just have to know the ones that are mostly used. Because the way you want it
Okay.
design is different from the way another person wants his design. You understand? Somebody might be using
Yeah.
you are using red, so you will not use the one other people are using. But you must know the ones that are basic. All right, the one that you need. Okay, is that all the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all right, so see you tomorrow, Solomon. See you tomorrow.